Welcome to the Future is Gold podcast series, hosted by Alexandra Cosma. We believe in empowering you to take control of your future so you can live the life that you want. And we do that by allowing you to buy, send, spend, earn and secure the world's oldest currency, gold, while being supported by modern technology. At Nauggets, our mission is clear. We're making gold accessible for everyone by giving you the knowledge and expertise needed to make informed and smart financial decisions that benefit you.
Welcome back. Once again, I'm your host, Alexandra, and on this episode, I'm talking with Nauggets Co-Founder Phoebe Tooker, an Australian woman with a dream to shake up the current gold industry and democratise gold for all. We'll be looking at Phoebe's journey throughout the development and growth of Nauggets, from a simple idea to a fintech business set to change the way we all buy gold. Phoebe, the financial and investment market is a competitive space. What makes Nauggets different from its competitors?
Hi, Alexandra. Thanks for having me here. Look, it's a great question. And I think for too long, gold has been in the hands of the wealthy. At Nauggets, we're striving to make gold accessible to everyone. We want to help people put away for their futures and inflation-proof their savings, which is why we are so big on education and financial empowerment. The difference at Nauggets is that we offer gold to our consumers at the current market rate at the time of their purchase with no commissions, which is something we're really proud of. We also allow people to buy a minimum of only $10, so anyone can get started.
Well, Phoebe, you certainly are making an influence. What is driving you to succeed?
I want to make a difference in the world and provide people with a product that helps them not only keep up but beat inflation as they put money away for their future, which hopefully will give them one less thing to worry about. Gold, by the way, was the only commodity that continued to rise in value through the 2020 crisis.
Well, we certainly are all concerned about inflation, especially in this current period. Phoebe, what is the state of the current financial industry that you guys are in?
Well, these days it seems like people are dabbling in all sorts of places to put their savings, like crypto and stocks, but these can be highly volatile and risky. You can buy gold on different platforms, but often it's not backed by anything physical. And if it is, it's marked up with huge premiums, and you will struggle to find anything that also lets you withdraw your gold or have it delivered.
Well, you're certainly changing the game and making it easier for the rest of us. Phoebe, let's have a more in-depth look into what inspired you to start this business journey. Can you tell us a little bit about your background?
Well, Ali, I wasn't always in the gold industry. As you know, I was actually a flight attendant, and I moved to Dubai when I was 22. I flew for Emirates, was traveling the world, exploring different cultures and living my best life. I met my husband when I was 28 and he swept me off my feet. I found myself not wanting to travel as much. And just over a year later, I left Emirates. We were married and we were starting our own little family. So I then became a full-time mum. My husband is also a really busy guy. His family office is invested in precious metal businesses, financing, trading, refining, gold vaults. He's worked really hard over the years, long hours, but it's paid off and he's built a really successful company, which actually gives us the underlying infrastructure for Nauggets.
So, Phoebe, did you know much about gold before you met your husband?
No, to be honest, I knew very little about gold when we met. I knew it made pretty jewelry and we panned for it in a river on a school excursion when I was little. I saw it in movies stored in those big fancy vaults by rich people, so I guess I was pretty removed from it all. But through him, I learnt the values of gold and why the banks and high net worth individuals stored some of their wealth in gold and why it was considered a precious metal. I learnt that gold is a long-term investment meant for storing value, diversifying your portfolio, protecting purchasing power, and safeguarding your wealth from economic or geopolitical crisis.
Phoebe, what a steep learning curve you've been through. Can you tell me exactly how was the Nauggets idea born?
Yeah, honestly, I learned so much from him and I was so intrigued by it all that I asked him if it were possible for my friends and family to buy gold for their own personal savings or as a gift. But he didn't usually sell to consumers and he told me if I could get it elsewhere. So I started my little treasure hunt, and many of the platforms I went to wanted certified copies of my ID posted to them, and that was even before I saw their premiums. I looked at several others and it was becoming such a headache. And just the same story, high premiums, forms, storage fees upon other fees. And I really thought to myself, it has to be easier than this. Like, if gold is so valuable, why is it so hard for normal people like me to buy? I went back to my husband and I told him the struggle, and he immediately saw the value unlocking and going direct to consumers with the same benefits he gives the big guys. And that's how we came up with Nauggets. We can offer gold to regular folks without a markup and apply an easy to use app on an already existing company. The name Nauggets was actually a fluke, by the way. I was joking around and wanted to call it Nuggets, but the name was taken. So then I suggested Nauggets with AU for Australia. But then my husband kindly reminded me that AU is also the periodic symbol for gold. So I guess I'm a bit of a genius.
Well, you certainly are a genius. Phoebe, can you tell me what's the branding idea behind Nuggets and how did the Nuggets brand evolve?
Yeah, well, we wanted Nuggets to be a young and fun brand. Everything we do at Nuggets comes down to that, keeping gold and investing simple, easy, and friendly. We really wanted to stand out from other intimidating fintech apps out there. So Nuggets is fun. Everything we use, from the colors of bright green and electric blue to our logo and graphics. We think gold should be fun and interesting, and it should feel simple. We're all about making it accessible to everyone. You don't need a finance degree or to use it or understand it. And it really is for everyone.
Phoebe, out of all of the industries you could have picked to go into, why did you decide to build a business in finance with a specialty in gold?
Well, my husband has a wealth of knowledge in gold in the industry, so we really wanted to leverage his knowledge and pass it on to others. Finance is such an exciting industry because if we can help others grow their wealth and secure their futures, that's something I was really passionate to be involved in. I can actually give you an example of the way gold can help you secure your future. So, say there are two people that have $100,000 in 2001, and one of them buys $100,000 of gold and the other keeps it in cash. 20 years later, in 2021, the person who had gold would have increased their investment value to $440,000. And the person who had it in cash would still have $100,000, but their purchasing power would have decreased by 56% due to the rise in inflation. So, to summarize that, gold has risen by 340% in the last 20 years, and the value of fiat currencies is decreasing on average of about 2.2% per year. So you will notice that gold fluctuates day to day, but over the long term, it tends to keep rising. And not only that, but the value of everything else is going down.
Wow, Phoebe, I really wish that I invested $100,000 into gold 20 years ago. I would have more than quadrupled my money by now. So great tip. It's never too late and we can start today. Phoebe, you spoke about bridging the gap between the gold experts and your customers. How do you picture your ideal customer?
I imagine it would be someone like myself. I have a new family and we're looking to buy our first home. I wanted somewhere stable and secure to put my savings that would give a good return, and I'm too intimidated and risk averse to go to cryptos and stocks.
Yeah, I think that's what's really unique about Nuggets. Compared to other fintech or investing apps, it is developed for ordinary people who want to invest but might find it a little bit too intimidating to do so. What would you say are the key pain points that Nuggets aims to address for its consumers?
Well, I think the main problem is that gold isn't spendable. So while people might want to own it, they don't necessarily want it locked up in a vault and not be able to use it when they need. So there's that, and it also can be a really tedious task to buy it. Another pain point is that Aussie banks only insure up to $250,000 and just $100,000 in New Zealand. So we really are making gold simple and easy to purchase while also making it liquid and 100% insured, so you can easily use it like your everyday check or savings account and have a debit card to spend it. You could buy your next coffee with gold.
Phoebe, you really are empowering people to use gold not just as an investment option, but also as a spending method for their daily expenses. We spoke about this in detail on our podcast episode 2, Why Gold is a Necessary Option for You, which was with gold guru Jeff Rhodes. If you haven't had a chance to listen to this episode yet, please check it out. Phoebe, you are obviously a goal-driven woman. What are the goals you've set for yourself and Nuggets?
To democratize gold for everyone. We want to make sure gold is simple and as easy or easier than your everyday savings account, because it really is. We'd like to create a habit within people to save in gold, and we want to bridge that gap between the experts and the everyday consumers to provide our members with gold at market rate and starting with as little as $10. Eventually, our long-term goal is that we're aiming to be a gold-backed neobank for users all around the world.
Phoebe, you're obviously pre-launch, but what are the goals you've already achieved in the business?
Well, my husband and his colleagues have built the underlying infrastructure for Nuggets through their B2B business, which allows us to simply put an app on top and make those same benefits and prices available to everyday consumers. The app is currently being tested and the debit cards should be ready in the next few weeks. And we're just making sure everything is running smoothly before our launch.
Well, it certainly is exciting times for the Nuggets business. Phoebe, can you tell me a little bit about the obstacles and objections that you've personally faced in the industry?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge for me was going from full-time mum to working full-time. And I was really lucky to be able to work together with my husband from home, but it was still quite an adjustment. I was emotional and I felt like I was missing out on so much, as well as the mum guilt together with sleepless nights and long days. I was exhausted. And my son was going through a sleep regression around the same time that Nuggets really picked up. I was doing about 14 hours a day in the office and then awake with my son all night. And I lost a bit of weight. And sometimes I wondered if it was all worth it and if it was really meant for me. In saying all that, though, with time and a lot of supportive conversations from my husband, I became more confident in myself and things made more sense. And as I got used to the hours, it became easier and I became more driven. It was really refreshing to do something new and challenge myself, like feeding my brain all these nutritional ingredients. Every time I learned something new or had a successful call, it was so rewarding and the feeling became addictive.
Well, Phoebe, as your colleague, but also your friend, I have definitely seen the change in you. Obviously, this was a big career change for you. You mentioned that you were a flight attendant and then a full-time mother. What was it like for you diving into the investment or precious metals world?
Yeah, look, I can't say it was easy. I definitely had a lot of learning to do. Initially, I was on investor calls with my husband, and I really felt like I didn't belong. I would think to myself, are they like even talking English right now with some of the financial jargon and terms they threw around? But that just pushed me to learn. And I spent days reading about the industry, upskilling myself with a digital marketing course, watching videos on YouTube and listening to podcasts like this. And I actually got addicted to Shark Tank at one point. I never went to uni, but I didn't let that hold me back. And I knew there was a place in this space for me. And there was a big gap in the market that Nuggets could fill. We wanted to get gold into the hands of the people. And I think for too long, only the rich have benefited from this precious metal. And I knew what we were doing was powerful and we could shake up the entire industry. So having this goal in sight just fueled me more. And when you have a clear dream, you just keep going.
Very inspiring, Phoebe, and the work that you are doing is definitely powerful. Who is providing you beneficial or helpful support along the way in your journey?
I have the support of such a wonderful team. It's been super exciting, the growth we have experienced in such a short space of time. Currently, the teammates are located all over the world, from our Sydney base to Dubai. We even have a small team in India. It's really cool what we can achieve nowadays working remotely online and across time zones.
Certainly, it absolutely is. Phoebe, how have you changed since the beginning of your career or business journey?
I have grown enormously. I'm having in-depth conversations about topics I would never have even considered before. And I've had to pinch myself a few times, and even I've been impressed with myself from time to time. Not only that, but my journey as a mother has put everything into perspective and the things that really matter in life. It's given me a sense of purpose and a place in the world to make a difference for our children's future.
Phoebe, how has Nuggets changed your perception of gold? You mentioned initially when you joined the Nuggets team, you didn't know much about gold. Can you tell me a little bit about how your perception of gold has changed now?
Well, I've gone from being that young girl panning for gold on a school excursion, thinking it was something only rich people could own, to being a woman who knows its inherent value and importance in securing wealth. I have a fundamental belief in gold, and I not only want to share it with friends and family, but also the wider community. I think everyone should own some gold, and that's what's really fueling the Nuggets dream for me, getting gold to the people in a way that's simple, easy, and also spendable.
Phoebe, you mentioned community. I know you are passionate about education, financial empowerment, but you also hold environmental initiatives very close to your heart. Can you tell me why is the environment at the forefront of everything that we're doing at Nuggets?
Yeah, so I grew up in Jervis Bay on the south coast of New South Wales, and I've always been connected to the ocean and the Australian wildlife. It's such a beautiful part of the world, and I learnt immense respect for the environment. And after I left home, my mum and dad moved inland to a beautiful property in the mountains with about 60 acres and started a truffle farm. But it was a devastating time for my family during the 2019 Christmas bushfires. I had flown home for Christmas and I could see the ash and smoke as soon as the plane landed in Sydney. I tried to get to my parents' farm, but I couldn't get through because of the road closures. And my brother was a volunteer firefighter. He was fighting fires on the coast while my mum and dad were at home prepping the house just in case. The fires actually weren't supposed to reach them, but suddenly the wind changed direction and two fires were heading towards the house from opposite sides of the property, and they were pretty much trapped. Luckily, my brother was able to get to the house and help my dad prepare as best they could. And my brother then told me to tune into the radio, and it was my dad giving the radio host updates on the situation, and it wasn't looking very good. I was absolutely horrified and I felt so helpless. There was literally nothing I could do. And I was really worried it would be the last time I heard my dad's voice. Then my dad announced the fire was really close and they had to go. They had no time to leave, and their only chance was to stay and try and fight the fire. So it was, yeah, it was the longest, most awful silence I've ever been through. And I'm not sure how long it was. It might have been half an hour or more when I heard my dad's voice again. So then I broke down and it was emotional and so overwhelming, just the feeling of relief. And the fire passed, luckily, over the house and they were safe. But unfortunately, the trees, wildlife, hundreds of homes, and even lives were lost during those fires, which is, I think, a devastation that will last a lifetime. So, from all this, it was really important to me that we give back to we as a business give back, and I'm passionate about reforestation and rebuilding habitats and ecosystems that have been damaged by the bushfires. Investing in the environment is one of the core missions of Nuggets, and it's integral to the continued development of the business.
Phoebe, I'm really sorry that your family had to endure such an ordeal. It was such a dark time for the many Australians affected. Your perseverance to give back and to make a difference in the community is absolutely admirable. I'm really excited about our next podcast episode as we will be talking to a representative from our partner charity, One Tree Planted, the wonderful organisation that we use to plant trees. Phoebe, thank you so much for your time today. It's been truly inspiring hearing about your journey from flight attendant to full-time mother and now to a gold fintech entrepreneur. The way you have faced the challenges thrown at you along the way head on, from upskilling yourself, juggling multiple responsibilities, and forging a new path in this industry. I'm really excited to see what the future holds for both you personally and Nuggets. Once again, Phoebe is the co-founder of Nuggets, the simpler way to buy, save, and spend gold. Nuggets is launching soon in Australia with big plans to go global and revolutionize the gold industry. Nuggets is offering gold at market rate with no commissions, annual rewards of up to 3.4%, and a global network of vaults. You can learn more about the Nuggets environmental initiatives on the next episode, Business with a Heart of Gold. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for listening to the Future is Gold podcast. For links and contact details relevant to this episode, please see the show notes. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast series so you'll know when the next episode is live. And follow Nuggets on social media for more gold standard content. Information contained within this series is general in nature and not directed to your personal situation. So please reach out to us or your financial expert for a more tailored approach. This podcast is a Story League production.